Welcome to Season 3 of Hines On Air, a new space for voices with something to say where conversations are recorded and remembered, hosted by Matt Hines.
Coming at you from Atlanta, Georgia, welcome to Hines On Air. Hey everybody, Matt Hines with Hines On Air. We're back at you with some more important information. And look, our primary job is the running and representation of clients with our law firm. Law office of Matthew C. Hines. That's what we do. And we get an inside look at a lot of things happening in the world when you're dealing with court systems and judges and prosecutors and stuff like that. And a glimpse we get it that we look into is the immigration and deportation side of things. And certainly there's a lot happening with this, the killing in Minnesota of the U.S. citizen, what happened. Most people have seen the tape at this point. And to me, it's obvious. This woman was trying to leave. She was not in any way trying to attack that ICE agent. The ICE agent completely overreacted when he shot her. And this, to me, is a crime by the ICE agent. He should be prosecuted. He should be sued civilly, and any other remedies at law should be leveled against him. Completely unnecessary, did not need to happen. And he knows that. And so does Kristi Noem and Donald Trump. They know it too, even though they had that bullcrap line where they were saying this guy was defending himself and she was trying to attack a member of the police and all that. That's ridiculous. And they know it. That's what they have to say. But this lady was trying to leave. The police officer or the ICE agent was not in danger. And that is my opinion of it, is that ICE agent completely overreacted. He should be sanctioned, prosecuted, and everything that the law allows should happen to that guy. But this whole deportation, illegal immigration, all that, is still a hot topic in our country. And I want some people to get some perspective and knowledge on kind of what happens here, because there are a lot of illegal immigrants in this country. There are also a lot of legal immigrants in this country that came over. They might not be citizens or have green cards, but they came here under asylum applications, under DACA DACA programs, and they are legally here, even though they don't have some sort of a permanent status. And what's happening a lot is if somebody is arrested, okay, they're just being arrested. They're not found guilty. We don't know if they did anything, but they get arrested for a crime. And because they're just arrested, they're deemed to have committed the crime and they get deported, even when they're here legally. Not just illegal citizens. So if this happens a lot, husband and wife are arguing. Wife gets scared and calls the police. Police show up to the house. Police don't really know what happened. So they say, oh, well, I'm arresting you for disorderly conduct. Or, domestic violence. That's it. I'm going to just arrest you for domestic violence. Y'all can go to court and just work it out. The court will figure it out. I'm just going to give you this charge. The problem is that charge triggers immediate deportation, whether that guy was guilty or not, and whether he's here legally or not. So it's a screwed up system. There is no due process. A lot of y'all are hearing due process arguments on the news. Like, they're entitled to due process. Due process. I don't know if you know what that means, but it means you're allowed to prove that you're innocent. You at least have a chance to tell the judge, what they're saying is not correct. This is actually what happened. Now, when we talk about due process, we're talking about the Fifth Amendment of the United States Constitution. And that says no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. No person. Now, what does person mean? Well, it means exactly what it says, no person. It doesn't say citizen. It doesn't say documented American. It says no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property. So we're talking about whether somebody is legal or illegal in this country. It does apply to everyone. Everyone deserves that constitutional protection. All right. So just because they're Hispanic doesn't mean you should assume that somehow, if they came here illegally, they're not protected under the Constitution. That is exactly what it says. This one is an easy one. Once this goes to the Supreme Court, and I assume it will one day, this will be an easy one to interpret. That's exactly what it says, and it should be applied that way. Trump has twisted this one up bad. And it didn't need to happen. It's just completely unnecessary. You can man the borders and have positive immigration laws without going through all of this chaotic change and prosecutions and stuff that's happening. That's what our Constitution says, and that's how it should be applied. And these people are not given that chance. Just because a police officer says, I don't know what happened, I'm just going to give you this charge, triggers immediate deportation. That's it. The guy doesn't get to explain, doesn't get to defend himself, nothing, he's deported. That's not America. That's not the Constitution. That's not how things should be. And I want you to know something. When you support that, you're giving up your constitutional rights. The Constitution is just a piece of paper. It really doesn't matter what it says. It matters how it's interpreted. And when it's interpreted in a way that minimizes the rights that you have in that document, you're not just affecting illegal immigrants. You're affecting every citizen. Because when it's decided one time, that then is the way it's applied to all other cases, citizens and non-citizens. So if you don't protect how that document's interpreted, you are yourself losing. We've had a lot of wars and a lot of fights and a lot of deaths to protect that Constitution. And when you don't hold the government to the line and make sure that they're adhering to those rights, you lose them. And in that example I gave you, when somebody is arrested without a chance to defend himself, whether they're illegal or legal, and they're just deported, you have a little piece of that Constitution just deteriorated and just went up in smoke. So you can't just get lost in the noise, and you can't just listen to Trump's violent and sort of just demented rhetoric about, oh, they're all criminals, they're all from mental asylums, they're stealing housing. That's all bull. That's not correct. They're really not. The crime rates of illegal immigrants or undocumented immigrants or DACA recipients or any of these classes of Hispanics that have come over, the crime rates are low. They're low, certainly compared to Americans. They're not this disproportionate amount of crime that's happening. So I hope you keep this in mind as you're watching the news conferences, because a lot of people don't get to see this side of the story. They just hear people are here illegally and we should send them back. It's a little bit more complicated than that. Many of them are not here illegally. They did it the right way, and they're still getting deported, and they don't have a chance to defend themselves. And the idea of being separated from your family, the idea of going to the grocery store and then getting deported while your family's sort of waiting on for you to come home, it's kind of one of the worst things that could happen to somebody. Like, it's just horrible. And it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way. So I hope this makes sense. I hope you use this information as you're evaluating news articles and news reports, and you're hearing people preach about what's right and wrong and what America should do. Know that's what's happening. And remember, it's your Constitution to protect. All right, so protect it. Protect the rights. And when you see somebody not being afforded those rights, whether they're illegal or legal, whether they're black, white, Hispanic, no matter what, know that when they lose the rights, you lose them as well, because the same thing will happen to you in the future. So this is Matt Hines coming at you at with Hines On Air. And look, comment, argue with me, debate me, or agree with me and say whatever. All right. Leave us a comment, share with your friends, and like this video, and we'll see you next time.